Hey everyone, it's Arlene. I'm here today with a video tutorial and I'll be sharing this 12 by 12 layout that I created of Nala, our sweet Yorkie. And I'm going to be using I Am Rose's flowers, and here's a picture of Nala in her little Santa hat and Santa dress. And I have a bunch of I Am Rose's flowers that I'll be using here, and I'll share them here with you now. So I'll be using these GB4 gardenias. These are absolutely beautiful, one of my favorite. They're about 2 to 3 inches in diameter, easy to paint, super fun. I'll also be using these roses, and these are the R3-12, and they're in red, and these are gorgeous. I'm going to take them out here and show you really quick and how beautiful these are. So these are perfect, and I love the red color. Perfect for Christmas. I'm also going to be using these R3-15, and you'll see in the project that I'll use my Lindy Stamp Gang stains to paint them. And these are super pretty, and they're the perfect size. I believe these are ½ an inch, 3/4 of an inch, less than an inch for sure. I'll also be using these rosebuds, and these are T20-101. And I'll have all of these products linked on my blog post as well, so be sure to check that out. I'll have that link below. But these are super pretty as well, and I love to bunch these and use them as fillers when I create layouts and other projects. So super fun, nice red color on these as well. I'm also going to be using these rosebuds, and these are the closed rosebuds, a little bit bigger, T30-151. This was a two-package pack that I'd purchased some time back, but these buds are still available on the I Am Rose's store. But these are gorgeous, and these are nice to paint, or you can glitter them up like I did on my project. These are the lilies, and I'll have the link to these flowers in my blog post as well, but these are gorgeous. These were the only ones that I had in red, so I didn't have the package available. On my layout, I'll be using Graphic 45's 12 Days of Christmas. This is one of my favorite paper collections, very festive and colorful. So I'll be using a few of the 12 by 12 papers. I'll also be using some solids and some of the coordinating embellishments that are available for the paper collection as well, like the pockets and tags and the chipboard pieces. So those are going to be super fun to sort of layer up on a layout. These are the papers that I'll be using for this particular layout. I'll be using 3 sheets of the 12 by 12. I'm just going to show you front and back here really quick. Oops, that's the sticker sheet. I'll actually be incorporating some of the stickers, the alphabet stickers, to spell out Nala's name on the layout. So that'll be super fun. I'll pop those up with some dimensionals and add those to the layout. So here I'm going to go ahead and trim down the base of my layout. The yellow piece that you see here is going to be the first layer, and I'm going to just trim that down so we have a good 12 by 12 sheet of paper to work with. On the next layer, I'm going to go ahead and trim that down to 11.5 by 11.5, so we'll be able to see some of that yellow peek through on the layout. So really quick, here's what the pages will look like layered on top of each other. Now, to give the layout a bit of dimension, if you follow me, you know that I am not all about 1D types of projects. I love the 3D, I love dimension. I'm using my Prima distressing tool to distress and rough up the edges of the base sheets, and I'm going to do this for both layers, and I really like that rough edge. You can curl up the page a little bit too. I didn't do that so much on my layout, but you'll see that it gives like a really nice outline of the pages and really nice dimension. Now, because I'll have a lot of embellishments on this particular layout, I'm going to put some heavy chipboard on the back side of my layout, and you'll see me doing that here. I like to use score tape because it holds on very well, especially if your layout's heavy. So a little bit of score tape on the edges, a little bit of 3M tape runner on the inside is fine. And I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit more score tape here to put the second layer onto the back layer. And I'm using my my bone folder tool to kind of make sure that the papers are adhered really well. Now, I'm old school, guys. I don't have any of those new fancy circle cutters, so I'm using an old EK6S curvy cutter. and a glass mat to cut out some huge circles that I'm going to be adding. I'm just going to put a little bit of repositionable adhesive to the back of the sheet just so that it can hold on to the glass mat while I cut the circle. So this curvy cutter has this little gadget tool that you see there on the top right, and that actually cuts the paper. And you move it around the little circle track. So again, super old school. I know there's a lot of like easier ways to do this, and I actually have spellbinders like nesting circle dies, but was just super lazy to take out my spellbinders machine. So this just seemed a lot more easier. And plus, the circles didn't have to be perfect, you guys, because in the end, I end up distressing the circles anyways, the edge of the circle. So you'll see here I didn't cut hard enough with the blade, so I'm using my my precision scissors just to cut the circle out. And again, I'm going to be roughing it up with my Prima tool, so it doesn't have to be perfect. So I'm going to cut out a few of these circles now, different sizes, and I'm going to be layering these on my layout just to add some interest, some visual interest on the layout behind the photo. So here are my 3 circles. Now I'm going to take Nala's photo, I'm going to back it with some chipboard, and I like to do this with my photos so that the photos are nice and stable and flat, and they don't look like they're warping on the page. So I like to use chipboard, and later on you'll see I'll actually add another layer of chipboard behind her photo, and that was because I wanted to pop it up a little bit more. So you can use chipboard to strengthen and pop up your photos on layouts. So I'm just using my my die poker tool just to take some of the backing off my score tape, and then I'm going to go ahead and adhere that to the back of the photo and distress the edges, of course, with my Prima tool. Now I'm taking a file to kind of file down the chipboard pieces where they popped out of the packaging, so just make sure that those are nice and smooth. And I'm sort of going in, and this is very typical of me when I'm working on a layout, I throw things together on the page to kind of see or have an idea of where I want to put things, and I don't adhere everything down at first. I like to decide where things are going to go, and sometimes they don't even end up being where I plan. It kind of just warps as I go. So here you'll see I'm distressing the edges of the circles that I cut out. Again, it adds visual interest. I cut out some strips too, and I thought it would be super fun to have like kind of something holding down all of the circles that are going to be on here in the layer, so it kind of creates this base for my layout. So you'll see I'm layering on all the circles, trying to figure out where I want to put things. And then I take the flowers out, the I Am Roses flowers, and just trying to figure out where I want to position things, because that really will help me when it's time to start adhering things down. Now with the rosebuds, I like to bunch them up and then twist the wire around the bunch so it kind of holds them together, and then I trim off the excess. And then I'll end up using my hot glue gun to adhere these down to the page later on. You'll see me do that later. So now I'm going to go ahead and start adhering down the circles now that I have a general idea of where I want to put things. And make sure you don't adhere circles down that are going to be up front, because then you won't be able to position the ones behind it. Yeah, so I decided to change out that, that Graphic 45 card. So the blue was kind of contrasting, and I really wanted to keep it with yellow, gold, and green. So I changed that up a little bit. This is going to be the squares, kind of where the photo is going to sit. Now I'm just kind of tucking in here and there, also chipboard pieces. And here you'll see I'm adding another layer of chipboard behind Nala's photo. And that was more for dimension, not for strength. And I'm going to go ahead and put that down. And I have a little chipboard piece that I'm going to have behind her, just to kind of add some additional layers. Again, I'm not about the 1D projects, you guys. I like lots of dimension. This is actually this layout, and a lot of people ask me how I store my layouts, and these don't go in a scrapbook. These actually go into a scrapbook shadow box, and you can get those at your local Michael's. I'm not sure if they have them at Joann's or at Hobby Lobby. You can check, but I know for sure they have them at Michael's. So I'm adding the chipboard pieces here and there, and I'm primarily using glossy accents, the foam tape. I'm also using hot glue and other things to kind of adhere down. I don't have any metal embellishments on this layout, so no E6000. So here's my Lindy Stamp Gang. I'm going to use this to paint the gardenias, and I like to take the leaves off in the back first and just use a paintbrush and Lindy Stamp Gang and just kind of go to town on the paint. The petals will get a little wet and very soft, so just be gentle as you're painting. So for the first one, it's solid. For the second one, I do sort of like a white tip on the front petals, and you can do this just by controlling the color that you add on to the petals and just keep the edges white. And then the Lindy Stamp Gang sprays that you're painting on, it'll just slowly blend in, so you'll see that it has a little bit of contrast there. So then I'm using my heat tool to dry that up just a little bit, and then I'll set them aside and let them air dry finish. Now I'm using the scintillating silver to paint the rosebuds, and I'm also using the same to paint the leaves that I'll be using on the layout. Now here are the white roses I was telling you about, so I'm using some of the golden sleigh bells as well to paint those up, and just being very gentle with that so you don't over wet the petals, and then use your heat tool to dry that. So now everything's going on, so I'm using my hot glue gun to adhere the flowers onto the layout. That tends to be the best method for me to adhere flowers down onto a layout. I just don't have the patience for glossy accents or any other adhesives, so and hot glue seems to work very, very well. So I'm just going to go ahead and keep layering on the flowers. I love those gardenias, you guys. They're perfect. I love them. I always get them in white so I can custom color them with my Lindy Stamp Gang sprays. I'm using adhesive and some pop-up squares to push up the chipboard pieces, and then just keep layering on. And you'll notice too that some of the pieces aren't where I initially thought they would be, and that's very typical of me. It's kind of like I kind of wing it towards the end. I have a plan in the beginning and then I wing it at the end. But the point here is, you know, put the pieces where you think it looks best, right? It's your project, it's your personality. There's no rhyme or reason. It's just for me, just visually, I place things where I think they make the most sense. And that didn't make sense to me, so I took that off. Yeah, so lots of different places to put things here. Just try to centralize where you place things. You kind of don't want things all over the place, right? So what looks most visually appealing, and you know, where do you feel that there may be gaps in the layout? And I apologize for my Apple Watch there. I think I was getting pinged and kept popping up. So here's what it looks like so far, and we're going to be doing a little bit more to this. So now we're going to put some snow on our layout, and I thought that would be fun since this is a Christmas layout. So I'm taking some distress paint, my distress sprayer, and my distress splatter tool, and I'm going to go ahead and add some white snow. I'm covering up Nala because I didn't want the snow on her, so I covered her up with some paper towel. So now I'm just sprinkling the white paint all over the layout and just getting it to the right texture, right consistency that I want to get it at. And that's what it looks like. I really love the look of that. It kind of gives it that finishing touch. Now, I'm putting on Nala's name. I didn't want to get the splatter all over her name because I wanted that to be pretty clear. So I'm just popping those stickers up from the Graphic 45 sticker sheet. I'm using some dimensionals to pop those up. And I added a little peace sticker on there. I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but we recently lost our Nala on Thanksgiving Day, and she was very ill. So when she passed, we were very thankful that she was finally at peace. So that's kind of the meaning behind that sentiment there on the scrapbook page. So now I'm using some multi-medium glue to adhere some Pretty Pink Posh sequins down on my layout, and I'm just, you'll see in the beginning I just kind of threw them on the page and then I kind of spread them out where I wanted them, and then I'm using the adhesive to put those down now. And of course those are such fine sequins, the small ones, so I had to use my little tool there to pick them up. But this is it, guys. This is my final layout, and I think all the finishing touches are done. I love how the flowers came out. I hope you enjoyed this layout and the tutorial showing you how this came together. And I really wish you guys a very happy, Merry Christmas with your family and your friends. Thank you for joining me. Take care.